Hi, Dave Jantzen, Sentry Pac Pro out of Madrid, Nebraska. Hey, today we get the question, I freeze my grain. I don't need a Sentry Pac Pro. Freezing your grain, it works. I can't argue with that. I know guys that do it and get away with it until they don't. Works really well. So freezing your grain means you're freezing moisture, which means you've got moisture in your bin, and it could be moisture you don't want. When that bin warms up in the spring, or if we don't stay cold enough all winter to keep that grain mass frozen, you end up with sides of your bin that get hot because the sun's on them, and then you start rotting from the outside of the bin towards the inside. And you'll notice this when you go to unload the bin, where the sun was on that frozen corn, it will stick to the side of the bin. And you hit it with a stick and it falls down, and it's always fun. How did it happen? So I do know a little bit about that. The freezing the grain is not a bad idea if you're going to deliver it right away, January, February. If you're going to hold that grain any further, you've got to have a Sentry Pac Pro to help manage that and condition that grain to the proper moisture content. The other thing about freezing grain, you got to freeze grain at the right moisture content. You can't freeze 18 moisture corn. If you do, you are really running a hard risk, and it's going to bite you. So the Sentry Pac Pro will get that grain down to 15 and get it to the right temperature to store it for the longest period of time possible. And that's the way the Sentry Pac Pro works. Is we can start harvest at 18, 19 moisture. When we're done and the corn is 14, 13 on the top of that bin or the next bin over, you run the first bin down to 15, and you bring that second bin up to 15 by using equilibrium and moisture content. And that is why the pack works so well, is because it does all this automatically. It's all inside the box, and it knows how to do this and do it well. You don't need phone calls with me. When should I run my fans? How do I run my fans? Are they going to run tonight? Are they going to run tomorrow? Should we run them next week? The pack's doing that for you. Every 15 minutes, it's making a decision, go or no go. I look at my spreadsheets that come through on our systems every day, and I see run times of 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 4 or 5 hours, whatever the budgeted run times are. So freezing grain is a risky proposition. The other question we get, and not really a question, but why hotspots matter. Hotspots are poorly managed aeration. If you've got a hotspot, your aeration hasn't been run correctly. And the Sentry Pac Pro is the only one that runs it correctly because it's all proactive. You don't get the hotspots because you have airflow throughout the bin, keeping the bin in even temperature and moisture content. The temperature probes, temperature cables tell you when there's a hotspot. When there's a hotspot, you're already reacting too late to the problem. And once again, I've talked about it before, but over-aerating to eliminate a hotspot only creates everything that you over-aerated gets drier. So now you're behind not only with a hotspot, but you've got dry grain. So now you've lost money by over-aerating through losing that moisture content, over-aerating by running your fans needlessly, and then you had a hotspot that the grain is not marketable because it got hot. So let's eliminate those problems by using the Sentry Pac Pro to condition your grain.